Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful night, day, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. I just hope it's awesome. So we got another guest choice review. Earlier today, I did Riot Kitty with Logan. And tonight is with our guest, Jade Shadow, or Mara Jade, however you know her. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm basically going to be enjoying talking about something that I actually love versus something that is complete and utter shit.
I know, right? So that's basically the point of my guest choice reviews. I mean, we got so much freaking negativity that a lot of the community is covering in the entertainment world. I want to basically give people the opportunity to discuss and review movies that we actually like, along with my mystery reviews. I mean, I haven't picked a movie in the mystery reviews that I haven't liked, and I won't. That's the whole point. So, yeah, before we get started, reminder that the next guest choice review is Friday night at 8 p.m. I will have CG Snowballer on Twitter, otherwise known as Lola Meets on YouTube. Interesting name. And we're going to be talking 1979 Phantasm.
Oh, so I love that movie as well. I love that movie as well.
Yeah.
The definitely. Tall Man scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
So set your reminders for that. It's in the playlist of guest review discussions. Also, if you guys, another reminder that if everybody gets me to 1,000 subscribers before June 1st, meaning it stops at June 1st, midnight, Eastern Standard. If you guys can get me to 1,000, my hair, my beard, all of it goes orange. And I will do a stream. Y'all can make fun of me. Y'all can record, clip, whatever, and have fun turning me into memes. It's going to be that kind of celebration. So, yeah, if you guys feel so inclined or whatnot, bring it on. So, another thing before we get going, Mara, why don't you give a plug for your channel and your Twitch and such? All of it's in the description too, folks. So,
well, as far as a plug for my channel, I can't. It's going to be at least a little bit longer until I'm able to do back to doing videos on a more regular schedule. I'm gone for pretty much the entire day, and I don't get home until, if I'm lucky, before 4 o'clock. Pretty much, I mean, around 3:30 thereabouts. But for the most part, of night cities, I get home after 4, and I have to take my dog out and then do dinner and everything like that. So, but I do live stream on YouTube whenever I can. So that's and I leave those live. So if everybody wants to catch the replay, that's how you can kind of watch me on YouTube for the time being until I can start making videos again. Like I said, so you'll find me more on Twitch because it's easier to stream. My Twitch is Jade_Fire. And I play a variety of games. I got into playing Metal Gear Solid 5 so I could cosplay as a character from that game, Quiet. So that's kind of like a cosplay stream of sorts. Tuesday has turned into a Fortnite day because I was raging too much at Splitgate. Just kind of need a break from it. And Thursdays looks like it'll be maybe Soul Calibur 6. And then Fridays, it's kind of up in the air for a grind stream. And right now I'm grinding Horizon Forbidden West. And yes, he tried to get me to hug his, it was Fortnite and he was, his skin was a hot dog. So he wanted me to hug him. So nice. There's actually a clip on Twitter of what he was saying. And he was like, hug my wiener, hug my wiener.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
And Droid Saber Phil, good to see you. He's a recent subscriber to mine. What does Mara know about Hot Fuzz? She lives out in the desert wasteland.
Well, we still get cable signal out there, so I'm able to watch it.
Yeah. And of course, Stunning would have to parrot you.
Yeah.
So hello to the chat. How y'all doing? Good to see you so far. We got Dread Saber and Stunning and Brave. And earlier today, I didn't have any of those pesky little trolls, but believe me, I will pull up the dang, you know what? I'm actually going to do that right now, just in case no moderators come in. because I believe a couple of them are busy. So give me 1 second here, because I got like 3 or 4 tabs open. But yes, Hot Fuzz, 2007 movie. And hold on, this is gonna shush there. So yes, 2007, directed by Edgar Wright. Apparently, it is a trilogy. Could you expand on that a little, Mara?
Yes. It's not a trilogy in the sense that you would think of, because trilogies generally have like continuity. So 2 would flow into 1, and then 3 would flow into the other 2. Is like one big story. But it's called the Cornetto trilogy because of the connection with the ice cream treats, and particularly the color of the label that they use in each movie to kind of symbolize at least the overall premise of the film. So it's like the specific color is picked. Like for Shaun of the Dead, the label is red to kind of symbolize the blood, because it's a kind of a parody zombie film. Then Hot Fuzz, it's blue because it's the cops. It's the Fuzz, pretty much. So it's a blue label you see in the movie. And then because the second one kind of deals with an alien invasion of sorts, it's a green label for kind of the extraterrestrial feel of the film. So that's how it got the name of the Cornetto trilogy.
Nice.
Like I said, I love this movie, so I generally love the trilogy, so I can talk about like pretty much all the movies.
Nice. So yes, this movie stars Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Timothy Dalton, Jim Broadbent, Martin Freeman, Bill Nye. It just goes on with it's a British movie, folks. It's hilarious too. If it's Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, you know it's going to be hilarious.
Oh, especially with like Edgar Wright directing and helping write it. It's like his dry humor is like always added to the film. So he's like one of my. I wouldn't necessarily put him in my top 5. I mean, I love him. I wouldn't necessarily put him in my top 5, but he's definitely in my top 10. Like if I see an Edgar Wright's name attached to it, then I'm pretty confident it'll be like an enjoyable film for me.
Nice.
He was actually attached to Ant-Man before he was kicked off the project for the MCU Ant-Man. There was I don't necessarily would say he was kicked off, but there was like creative differences, and I think he left sort of a situation. Yeah. But there is at least one scene that I know for sure that they kept that was in his original storyboard, and that is when Ant-Man shrinks and runs across the barrel of the pistol, the gun. That was in Edgar Wright's original storyboard, so they kept that scene, and he got basically paid royalties for whatever they used from his original outline storyboard in the film.
Nice. Well, it's good that he got a little bit of royalties from it. So this movie is basically Simon Pegg, super cop, named Nick Angel.
Yeah.
And he excels at his job. He loves his job. He lives for the job.
He's like the British version of super cop, pretty much.
Yeah. And so he ends up doing his job a little too well in London. And they decide to transfer him out to the middle of the boonies, hoping that
he's doing his job too well. Like you're making the force.
You're making us all look bad.
I love that scene because it's like it's basically it's not the only time you see Steve Coogan and Martin Freeman, but it's like just in that brief moment, like you're laughing like Martin Freeman is like, like when he Nick Angel says that I was that in 20 years or so, like he wanted to retire. Basically, his response to that, and Martin Freeman's like, "Well done, you." Like, hey, you got it right away. So here you are.
Exactly.
Then he's going to go up the chain of command. He's not accepting the responses he's getting.
Yeah.
And Steve Coogan, I know him primarily from a British show, 2 British shows, one called Knowing Me, Knowing You, and I'm Alan Partridge. And I'm Alan Partridge is a sequel to Knowing Me, Knowing You. And his character is Alan Partridge. And he plays a narcissistic idiot talk show host, essentially. That's what the show is called, Knowing Me, Knowing You. That's his talk show. And it's kind of like what could go wrong does go wrong, but like in the British dry humor.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch to check out to see what you think of it. Like I said, it is the dry British humor, essentially. And the sequel is him trying to get a second series, and I can't say why he needs to get a second series or another chance because of something happens at the last episode of his talk show.
Nice. And them going all the way up the chain of command, and freaking Bill Nye coming in, and he's just out with, he's like, "You're making us look bad."
Yeah.
So we're getting ready. Well, then let's see what the rest of everybody has to say. They're already celebrating.
They're already like, "Good luck, Nick."
It's like, yeah, good luck, dude. Oh my god, that poor Simon. And then he goes to talk to his ex-girlfriend and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I wanted to tell you this over the phone." Well, I already know. So that's
yeah. So it's like, oh, like, you know who played his ex-girlfriend?
The voice sounded familiar.
Oh, well, you're gonna kick yourself. Well, I'm not kick yourself, but she was just a cameo role. But that's Cate Blanchett.
No shit.
That is Cate Blanchett.
That's why I recognize the damn voice.
Yeah. So, and there's another cameo. Well, Martin Freeman technically is not a cameo, but like there's a third Lord of the Rings connection in this film. Yep. There's a cameo. So
there's Kate. There's Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the third?
You'd have to read the trivia for this to know, but the Santa Claus, when he's going through the litany of his arrest.
Oh yeah,
that's Peter Jackson.
Oh my god, are you serious?
I'm serious. You can look it up, but that's Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson stabs
as the Santa Claus is stabbed in the hand.
Oh my god, that is hilarious.
Yeah.
I was unable to guess the identify of this girlfriend, Janine. For the benefit of those who still want to guess her identity, I'm keeping my big mouth shut.
Yeah.
Hello, Ragfire. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping in.
Yeah. So
he's one of yours, I take it.
Oh yeah, like he shows up in my streams. He's
yep. Like
seen him, and big support. I've seen Lethal's chat and things like that. So yeah, so
right.
So, and what was I gonna say? I think like Stieg. I think it kind of like deflated his balloon a little bit because he was all proud, like not necessarily proud of himself, but he was like he thought he knew something that I didn't know. So when I was talking about this movie with him, and he's oh, do you know who the ex-girlfriend is? And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's like, it's da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, and I hear this, oh, you know. It's like, yeah, I know.
So then she ends up starting dating one of her coworkers. It's like, gosh, you guys they must not have the same rules as they do in the U.S. about dating coworkers, you know?
I'd have to disprove about that. But yeah, she's she's like real. She's dating one of her coworkers. And she's one of those crime scene, not necessarily investigators, but like, you know, the ones that like dust for prints and things like that.
Mm-hmm. And then he's like, or she keeps on bitching at him about how he's too married, or he's basically essentially married to the job.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I could change it and whatnot. And then she basically drops that she's dating Dave, I think it is. And then he's like, and then he's basically, oh, fuck it. You know that glass was broken from the inside, right?
Yeah,
and
like
everybody's like, oh.
He's like she's ready to go. Oh, Nicholas, like not necessarily they'll get together, but at least she's going to have some sympathy. Yes, forensics. Yeah, I couldn't think of the word forensics. So she's ready to kind of like, you know, like not necessarily like take him back, but still like, you know, pity him, like, you know, kind of like, you know, like feel sorry for him. And then he goes, "You do realize that window was broken from the inside, right?" So he's still back on the job, and like he's like looking at him.
And it's like,
the other guys almost had it. And the other guys in the room, and the other forensic guys are like, "Huh?" And they look over the window.
So then he gets transferred, and they're sending him to, or they're like, "Your cottage is not yet ready." And
yeah,
then he has to get to whatchamacallit, Sanford, I think.
Yeah, Sanford.
Gloucestershire
or whatever. I can't pronounce it.
Gloucestershire.
Yeah, but
believe me, it took me a million years to start pronouncing this stuff until I watched Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then I just suddenly became fluent in weird names of England.
Yeah,
Gloucestershire.
Yeah, but he sent there, and his cottage isn't ready, so they put him up in this like
castle suite. And I love
Yeah, I don't know
the
if I would call it an
interaction.
inn because I'm like looking at the titles of these rooms and I'm like, that's not a suite.
Yeah, I know, right? And I love the interaction between her and the or him and the lady. It's like, how you doing? Fascist. What? Oh, the crossword puzzle.
Yes.
And then he calls her a hag. And he's like,
Yes.
oh my
Oh yeah, I
god.
love that. It's like, it's I'll make my own way up. Hag.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It I mean, the way that he just drops that line, it looks like he's saying it to her, but meaningfully, but also then he just answers. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's that one."
Yeah, yeah, it's evil old woman considered fright. I know this movie like the back of my hand. I'm just like,
Yeah.
so like if you get annoyed with how much I quote it. All right, but it's like he's like evil old woman considered frightful or ugly. It's 12 down.
Yeah. And so he then goes to the pub because he realizes that he'd just be bored to death if he didn't go somewhere.
Yeah.
He sees a bunch of kids in hoodies outside, doesn't make too much of it, goes into the pub, gets a pint, looks around, and it's like he just can't turn it off.
Yeah, he just can't turn it off because he's seeing what obviously looks like underage kids.
Yeah,
At least underage in the UK. Because I think like the age is 18.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like no, alcohol will not be served to those under 18 years old, and like you just see, like Simon Pegg does this like so beautifully. He just like looks around and you see like he's almost trying to fight it. Almost trying to fight it.
He's trying to,
he's
but
trying,
then he just
nope.
can't.
He's like he gets to a point where it's like, nope, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And that scene is just handled beautifully, where he like goes up to one. He's like, "You, what's your birthday? 22nd of February. What year? Every year. Get out." like
smart ass.
Yeah, it's like smart ass.
then he's like, "You, when's your birthday?"
The second kid tries to pass himself off as 37 or something like that.
Your boy's 69.
Yeah, and then the third one just can't even get any words out.
Yeah, get out. And then the freaking couple that own the pub are like, "Is there a problem here?" "Yeah, you got an underage drinking problem." And they're like, "Oh, that shouldn't be too much of a problem." And then he kicks out basically almost everybody in there is gone.
Yeah.
And they're like, cranberry juice.
Yeah,
The way they say it with just such disdain.
Yeah.
And then he gets out there and he's looking over the fountain and realizing all the names on it. And you get Nick Frost coming in trying to get into his car. Not going to drive that car, are you?
No.
Just no.
I love how Nick Frost just says he's like, "No." He's like he's like, this is a response you're expecting, but not the one I'm genuinely going to give you, sort of situation.
Yeah. And then
if you look at the names of the people like that are on that fountain that kind of helped build that fountain, if you look at their last names, they're occupations.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like occupations.
Yeah. And yes, hit like, or in fact, don't hit like, arrest that like button since it's a hot fuzz that we're doing here. But yes, smash the like button, get the link out there, share it. Also, folks, let people know that if I get to 1,000 subs, the whole face and hair, beard, I'm growing this beard out. I mean, yeah, it looks scruffy right now, but I'm growing it out so it actually looks good for when I get the if I decide to dye it orange. I mean, you guys will have a lot of, I'm giving everybody every opportunity to freaking just make fun of me. You wouldn't want to pass that up. I don't do that often. Yarb.
Yeah, it's like yarp. Yeah, it's like.
And so then Nick Frost almost hits him because he's backing up drunk. So he decides. Yeah. It's like, all right,
I'm gonna take you to the station. Where is it? It's like, where?
Yeah, where is the station? And he freaking walks into the damn station. Yeah. And he's also picking up everybody else. He's like, "I see you arrested half the town, huh?" Not quite. Yeah. It's like, you would have.
You really want to process this whole lot? My pens run out. It's like, not a problem. And he pulls out like 2 pens. I'm like, yep. He can't turn it off. He pulls out 2 pens and like just clicks them like this. I'm ready.
Yeah, it's like click. It's like, and then he just gets you see all the mug shots. It's like, hope nobody has whatchamacallit, seizures and shit.
Yeah, and like the one's still wearing one of those traffic cones because you see him like he's like when
Yep.
he to the station, he's wearing one of the traffic cones on his head. And he's still wearing it for the mugshot, and you see like angels like come over and like take it off of him and just glare at him.
Yeah. And then he comes back the next day. He's like, "Where's the guy in cell 4? Where's the guy?" Oh yeah. And then he turns around. Nick Frost is actually a fucking cop.
Yeah.
That was one.
Like not only just like a cop, he's like the son of the chief or whatever you want to
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh my god, really?
Yeah.
And then he goes out and freaking he talks with Jim Broadbent, the guy that plays Slughorn in the Harry Potter films.
Oh yeah, that's where I saw him because I knew him from Bridget Jones's Diary. I thought he was in the Harry Potter movies. Well, but then again, I didn't really.
He was in the later ones because he came into it in 6.
Yeah, like, I didn't see the 6th one. I remember like seeing that he was joining the cast, but I didn't see either the 6th or the 7th movies. So.
Yep. He was also in Game of Thrones, and I'm like, no shit. When the fat dude was learning to be one of those really smart people, the ones that advisors and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and he turns out to be the chief, and he gives him the nickel and dime tour. And this is the NWA, the freaking Northern Watchers Association or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the living statue is their biggest boon in the town, where they're the biggest problem. They also have the problem with those hoodie kids. They got this or the best town award coming up with their adjudicators, and they just want to get rid of the living statue guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Their riot room literally is like cobwebs and a freaking hedgehog in there. I'm like,
yeah, it's like some sort of rodent in there. Like all
it was a hedgehog,
like dirty and cobwebs and things like that. It was like tells you what little use they.
Yeah, it's like we're so peaceful here. We don't. It's not, or it's like we don't need the riot gear. The evidence room is basically a barren wasteland. And then he takes it, or he's partnered with Nick Frost, and Nick Frost is just asking him all sorts of American cop movie questions. Like, you ever see Top Gun 2? No.
Yeah.
Have you ever jumped shooting 2 guns at the same time? No.
Ever been in high speed pursuit? Yes. Ever shoot a gun while in a high speed pursuit? No.
Every question he asks essentially happens in this movie later on.
That's what I love. Like every question he asks, like there's like no, it's like the questions aren't even pointless. They come back later on.
Yeah, that is one of the master strokes of these comedies. Most of what they say will not happen, or doesn't happen, or hasn't happened, ends up happening. Mm-hmm. I'm like, because I had to watch the movie twice. I'm like, he's asking all these. Holy crap! He did all of them in this movie. So then they're just going through sort of different things. He meets different characters. Timothy Dalton's character is the one that really stands out because he just gives off the slimy vibe.
Yeah. Timothy Dalton's like perfect in this role.
Oh yeah. So then he's doing all sorts. I can't remember if the PI it's the PI staker thing.
Oh, I love that because he thinks it's
it's like
staker.
Your name is PI staker, piss taker. Come on.
Yeah. Like,
so what did it's like, so what did or Swan look like, Mr. Staker?
Yeah, like, can you describe it like for me? They like it's like tall, long, slender neck, got an orange and black bill. It's like anything else. Well, it's a swan. It's like a swan. And the guy just has a small role. I've seen him in other films, but he's like a small role in this one, and he's like perfect. Just like how he delivered that. Well, it's a swan. It's like, what else do you want me to say about it?
Yep. And the slow build, everything before that, I mean, it was just minor things here and there. And it's a slow build for me anyway. But it really does work. It throws you off guard until they start getting into where they're running the speed trap.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy and it's the Romeo and Juliet idiots.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. And he starts writing down everything in his writing pad, and it starts pissing off the driver.
Yeah, sorry. Martin Blower like just starts pissing him off because he's trying to get out of the ticket, and
yeah,
like, and the thing's like writing down everything
the dude is saying,
and like Martin Blower is like, you find out he's an attorney later on, and he's like, I'm really trying to explain why I might have been exceeding the speed limit, and like he's like, and Angel just like reads off everything that he said,
and so then he explains to Nick Frost, he's like, this is the most important tool of the job. He's like, oh yeah. Or he's like, you'd know that if you actually used yours. Oh, I do use mine. And then he does a flip flip
book, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Where the cop blows off a dude's head. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's like, that's just amazing. Like, you should see the other side. It's like,
yeah, I know. It's like, now I want to see the other side because they didn't show it.
Yeah, you just see Angel's face, and like, yeah, now I want to see it. Like, what is that? It's the other side.
And then they did they go to the pub or no?
No, he goes.
They were walking.
Neighborhood Watch Alliance to kind of like meet the other, like the people that.
Yeah, he meets all the other people at the Neighborhood Watch.
Mm-hmm.
And
one of them is played by Paul Freeman, and he plays the priest, and people would know him. Like the big thing they know him from is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes.
So
he was the bad dude, or he was the bad guy from.
He was Belloc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Belloc. Dude that kept on stealing everything from Jones.
Yeah, like not, and like he turned his life around, so to speak, and stopped stealing Nazi shit and like turned to the priesthood essentially. So
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, he had to come back to life because I believe he got his face melted from the Ark.
Yeah. Well, I think like he came back to life. I don't. Would it be? No, he came back to life. But first, before he like resumed human form again, he was Ivan Ooze, and then he
I know, right?
Form again, and decided like to change his ways and become a priest.
No shit, he was Ivan Ooze, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. The more you learn.
Yep, Paul Freeman.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I'm right, but let me double check that because I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I remember like,
Ivan Ooze.
You looked up Paul Freeman.
Paul Freeman. Yep. It was him. Son of a gun. You want us to take another crack at it? How about you take another? Or what? You want us to take another whack at it? How about you take another crack at it? Turns him into fucking feathers. I love it.
That movie, like in itself, was like not objectively good. Like it's objectively fun, but like
yeah,
not that
you
good.
had to be a fan to love it.
But I would give Paul Freeman that.
Yeah,
for the Power Rangers movie, he handed it up. He like perfectly as Ivan Ooze.
Oh, stop it! It tickles. My turn.
Yeah.
Freaking turns him into a snow globe.
Yeah.
Wrong movie. Okay, getting back. So
yeah,
he meets all of them. Then the next day, there's the shoplifter.
Yeah.
And he's like, what about this guy? He's like, there's got to be something about this guy. Maybe he's just butt ugly underneath that hat. You can't see his face. He's because fucking ugly.
And that also comes into play later on because he's saying like this. He's telling Frost's character that like there's always something going on. So what about like what's this guy's like? What about this guy? And you see this like old man kind of walking. Mr. Creature. It's like, why this camp? It's not cold. Why is he wearing that heavy coat? And like it's like, and like Nick Frost is kind of like brushing it off because he knows the guy and he doesn't like assume anything about him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the fuck ugly guy. He's like, why does he have his cap down? Like maybe he doesn't want you to see his face because he's fuck ugly. So he's like,
I know. and then it turns out he's fucking shoplifting. Yeah. And then you get the big trick. I love how the freaking I was always wondering where that scene came from, where he hopped all the damn fences, and I'm like, oh, Hot Fuzz, there you go.
Yeah.
And how he chases this dude down is just freaking hilarious.
Oh yeah.
And then he sees the swan because they also lost, or they're looking for the swan too, and they tried catching the damn swan, they couldn't. And then he sees the swan while he's chasing this guy, and it's like, okay, are you gonna catch the swan or are you gonna catch him?
Yeah. So
and he's basically, fuck the swan, I'm going after him.
he goes after the shoplifter.
Yeah.
He goes after the shoplifter, and I love how he turns the corner one time and he goes, "You mothers," and it's just like these like mothers like walking their children in strollers.
Yeah.
That's when he decides to hop the fences to take that shortcut.
Yeah. And then Nick Frost is like, I'm going to do that. And he just runs right through a fence and busts it. It's like, oh my God, that is hilarious. I mean, Nick Frost is a big guy, you know? It would have been hilarious if he could actually have done it.
Yeah.
Which he does. He just kind of just rolls over one of them.
Yeah. I love that. Have you seen Shaun of the Dead? Have you seen Shaun of the Dead?
Once. I only saw it once, but I loved it.
Well, this is kind of like taking that scene from Shaun of the Dead and actually making it like so he can do it, because when he in Shaun of the Dead where he's like, it's like what's the matter? You never taken a shortcut before, and he like tries to go over one of the fences, just falls over.
Yeah.
And he gets up and like brushes himself off. It's like, yeah, I meant to do that. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then they do it over the top now, where he just goes over one easily, goes over the other easily, and then you just see like a flip over the third one or whatever it is, like the last one.
Yeah, does like a freaking or trampoline jump over one of them. It's like, oh my God. And then they catch the dude, and they decide not to press charges. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? All that shit, and he doesn't even get charged. Yeah. And they also bring up all the different PC terms. Well, we can't say force because it implies too much or it's too aggressive. You can't say, or so you got to say service. You can't say police, or you say police officer instead of policeman or policewoman. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my God. They're mocking it obviously back then because, well, PC is never meant to be or it's a fad. It's meant to fade away and just be said, okay, you had your little fun, now it's time to get back real. But I love how they do mock the PC terms.
Yeah.
And then we get to the axe murderer who beheads the Romeo and Juliet couple. And because they had to go to the Romeo and Juliet thing. And he's like, she likes the older guys because that kissing was the only thing that was real. And you can see as the whole thing goes on, you see Simon Pegg's face just getting more like horrified with each act.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then she blows her, or she shoots herself in the head. I'm like, Romeo and Juliet? Really?
Yeah, this is like a unique interpretation of Romeo and Juliet because he's wearing armor. Like, obviously not from the 14th century.
Yeah.
With his angel wings on and things like that. It was like, I'm like, oh my God. And even I was like just sitting there going, yeah, that just happened.
Yeah.
I
mean,
I guess there's like off Broadway sort of a situation, but that is like, I've seen high school plays better than that.
Yeah. And to be on it, or to be 100% honest, folks, when I was watching this movie, it's like, okay, it's nice builds here and there, but they better put something in that really starts to get this interesting, or else I don't know what I'm going to do. Insert the axe murderer. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, axe murderer, there we go. And they end up doing the scene, and it's like, oh my God, man. And they I don't know, was the axe murder before or after the sea mine?
It was before, because it's It's as they're leaving the theater, you kind of see like the
Yeah.
hooded figure in the alley, and
Yep.
then it cuts to later on where it's
They're making out, and then he slices them
yeah,
up.
yeah. The axe murderer kills them because they're like because you like it's like obviously heavily implied that he's having an affair with
Yeah.
Eve Draper, his
Yep.
assistant and co-star, pretty much co-lead, and what was I gonna say? Yeah, and then like the scene like in between the sea mine is like them like going over the crime scene, finding the
Finding the
body.
dead bodies and stuff, and you also have Timothy Dalton, who's like, "Poor Eve, and such terrible accident." He's like, "How'd you know how do you know they're the victims?" I mean, he's the obvious suspect throughout this movie. Timothy Dalton is like just the obvious suspect. He wanted to beat her head in, or he says it at that party, at the after party of the thing. He's like, "Just want to bash her skull." It's like, really? Could you be any more obvious?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they make it like really they make it like really obvious with Timothy Dalton.
Yeah. And you also see how the guy that's going over it before he has Simon Pegg take over the scene, he's walking all throughout the scene, like over on top of all the evidence. It's like, oh my God, dude, you'd be fired if you pulled that shit. In real life, you would literally be fired because you are turning your boots into evidence. And so then we get, or they are like, this wasn't an accident. Well, we can't call it accident. We got to call it collision. Oh my God, really? More PC terms? And then they're like, okay, well, we got to leave it up to the detectives if it's anything. And well, don't worry, we'll get their justice search and whatnot. And then we get to the sea mine, and the guy who owns the sea or that found the sea mine is freaking Filch from Harry Potter. And I'm like, dude, he's starting to turn up in everything that I've never noticed before.
Yeah, there was actually a show my family and I kind of used to watch when we had the BBC. This was years ago, and that was Midsummer Murders.
Yeah,
and he was on one of the episodes of that, and I remember like seeing him. Holy shit, that's Filch.
Yeah, I know. And my aunt was
not like not that much younger, but like still like a bit younger than you saw him in Harry Potter.
Yeah. And I'm like, huh. And my aunt noticed, or she used to actually watch Midsummer before she passed earlier this year. And it's like, holy shit, that is him. But yeah, he turns up in everywhere after Harry Potter was done. He turned up in Captain America, the first Avenger. He turns up in Midsummer. He turns up in this movie, Game of Thrones. I'm like, apparently he's been a well-known actor, and I had no idea who the heck he was. I always thought it was just Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's it's kind of like how I was. Like that's the first time I saw him in was Harry Potter, and even though I didn't necessarily assume that was the only thing that he'd ever starred in, it was the only one I knew him from. And then I like saw that show Midsummer Murders, and like kind of like he started popping up here and there, and then I'm realizing that he's actually, I wouldn't necessarily say famous, but he's like a lot more well known in the UK. Than I anticipated.
He's a UK actor. We'll just say that.
Yeah,
he's a bigger UK actor. And so then we get to the sea mine. This guy can't, or he doesn't speak. He mumbles. It's inaudible, or
it's a dialect. Very thick accent. It's like the same accent as the one of the constables.
Yep, and they actually brought that constable there to translate.
Yeah, but
then Nick Frost translates for him.
Translate the constable's translation.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my God, wow. And then he's like, you got a permit for that gun?
Yeah, it was
this one, yeah.
It was played beautifully, the initial translation, because the actor, like, I'm just going to call him Filch because I can't remember the actor's name, so I'm sorry, I apologize, but he's going through what, like, what he's complaining about, or like what's going on, or like what's happening, and then Angel just turns around and just like looks at the one constable and goes, what did he say? and the constable translated, but he still has his thick accent. And then Angel just kind of looks at him and then looks over to Nick Frost and goes, "What'd he say?" That's back and forth.
Yeah. And I've been neglecting the chat. I'm very sorry, folks. Keely Chow, good to see you. Phil, TMNT, good to see you. Soul Assassin, you're a doctor. Yeah, deal with it.
Yeah.
Epi, always a pleasure to see you in here, bud. Epi also has done very well at guessing the different mystery reviews. I have given more hints for the next one, Epi. See if you can actually guess those. Soul Assassin's dropping links. So yes, folks, if you are following Mara on Twitch, there's her Twitch link. Follow her on. I wholly expect to be banned or restricted on Twitter by the time we get back there after this stream is done. Because there was that, I think it was one that you shared, but it was that celebrity blue check chick. I don't need to go, or I'm not going to remove my mask if the person, or if the non-scientists tell me, and it's like, oh, who's a good little government slave? You want a cookie, little government slave?
Yeah.
I wholly, because I use that word to see if they actually will do it. I dare them.
We'll see. We'll see. I think they got. I'm not saying that necessarily they won't, but they kind of got their own.
They got their one-sided
trying
shit
to take over Twitter. So
yeah, I mean, I wholly expect it. The electromagnetic mine is set off with dip needle. That comes. Yeah, I honestly thought that was going to go off in the frickin' because he asked him. He's like, "You got a permit for that gun?" This one, yeah. He's like,
"Yeah."
What do you mean this one?
He does.
And finds out. He's got a whole freaking armory in the back. Where'd you get all these? Found them. What's this? There's a sea mine. What the? And then he kicks it and whatnot, and it starts ticking. And it's like, oh shit! When they're running out, I'm like, oh great, they're gonna blow up the whole freaking thing. This is gonna be hilarious. It doesn't go off. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. But it's still funny because they dive over the fence and then
they dive over the fence and then it's like, oh my god,
they both stand up like Angel and God, why am I blanking on Nick Frost's character?
I forget his name too.
Danny, get up. Yeah, Danny, it's like this, like kind of goes like just slowly, like you got something on your vest, and Angel just slaps his hand away. Just get off me.
Please, well, come on, give the full name, you son of a bitch. I look it up I look it up here, and it's like police constable, and I'm like, yeah, but what's his freaking name, you jackalopes? Well, let me see if I could do it this way.
It's Danny. Are you talking about Danny?
Nick Frost's character.
Nick, yeah, it's like Danny Butterman. I just remembered his last name.
Yeah,
because he's the son of the chief, or like
it is Danny. It is Danny. And hey, Jacob Ironside, good to see you. Charges magnetic fields. Any ticking sound made? Absolutely. Yeah. Well, looks like Rockfear actually knows a little bit about this stuff. Nice. Interesting. Maybe it's just old school ticker. If you think that's crazy, then you will then this will blow your mind. The mayor of Hot Fuzz, James Bond. Mind blown. Well, I know Timothy Dalton was a James Bond.
Did we see? I don't remember even seeing the mayor in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, I don't think there was a mayor in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
There was or everybody else, but no mayor.
Yeah. Like, if you're thinking about Timothy Dalton, he owned the supermarket.
Yeah. And then after the sea mine, they finally go to the pub just to freaking wind down and whatnot. Then he's like, well, why don't you have something to drink, man, instead of cranberry juice all the time? Like, all right. What's your wines like? We got, red and white. He has. And I'm like, oh my God, it's ridiculous. And then freaking Nick Frost, one of the best freaking pranks I have ever seen, folks. He's like, now check this out. And then he just stabs his eye through the thing and a bunch of blood. And it's like, oh, what the Jesus Christ? And he shows it's a fucking ketchup thing. And I'm like, there's that much ketchup in that damn thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. That was freaking good. And you also hear the inspiration of why Nick became a cop. And it was because of his uncle who was a cop. But then he finds out that he was a crooked cop and he got him his first play cop car.
Yeah.
Essentially. And ever since he found out that he was crooked, he never used it again. But he still had that sense of justice.
Yeah, because he got beaten up a lot as a kid because he was like, for the rest kids half his age or give them tickets or something, something like that. So he got beaten up a lot.
Yeah. And then after that, they have to drop off the smaller guy in the suit. They drop him off at his house. And they go to Nick's house or Danny's house, and they end up watching a bunch of cop flicks, and the axe killer is at the other guy's house and ends up
George Merchant's.
Yeah, George Merchant. And they freaking start cooking bacon and baked beans.
Yeah.
Then turn on the gas, light a candle, and let the house go up. And it's like, oh my God, that is hilarious.
Yeah. And like you see like this like huge house just like blow up and then the body just come flying towards the camera.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. I laughed way too hard at that.
What was like it's like just so I don't want to say out of place, but like normally people just like turn the gas on, but they like the caroler went out of the way to put bacon on the frying pan on the stove.
Yeah, make it a late night meal.
Make it like he's like making a late night meal and passed out.
Yeah.
Where like if the house had exploded, no one's gonna know.
I know. Exactly. It's like, how the fuck would they even know about bacon? Or where would you find the bacon and the baked beans after a freaking house blows up? You know, it's just hilarious. And then you also see that the damn swan was there, and so that the freaking detectives are calling him crazy and saying, dude, so maybe it was the freaking swan who killed him and whatnot.
Yeah.
The detectives just don't want to do their damn jobs. They think he's freaking crazy. Everybody's starting to think he's crazy.
Yeah, the detectives are like, the town is like so safe that the detectives don't even want to do their jobs. So it's like almost like pointless for them to be there. So they actually get irate if they have to do work.
Yeah.
And one of the detectives,
it's your goddamn job's detect.
Yeah, it's like that's your job, detect. Because they're saying like you want to look through the whole phone book, like for like certain parts and things like that. And if like you want to look through all the copies of the Stanford Bloody Citizen, be our guest. It's your job, detect.
Yeah.
And one of the detectives, Rafe Spall, and you'd have to look at his dad to see, like, you know, definitely that Rafe takes after the mom, is Timothy Spall's son. Timothy Spall, because I looked up Rafe Spall, because I mean, he looks kind of familiar to me, because I thought I'd seen him in something else, and I looked up his trivia, and he's the son of Timothy Spall. Timothy Spall played Wormtail in the Harry Potter movies.
No shit.
Yeah, so like you look at Timothy Spall, and then you look at Rafe Spall.
Oh my, yeah. There is no real resemblance.
Rafe definitely took after the mom's side.
Yeah,
but he's Timothy Spall's son.
Huh. So then we get to he wants to just look more into it, and he's like, now I want you to sleep on it, and if you really think that tomorrow or it's worth it, we'll give it a look. And then they have the church thing where they're always going for the church roof to try to fund the church roof, and they have the raffles and the event there. And he's noticing more stuff there. He's noticing how Timothy Dalton just wants to, or is like wants to beat over the head, the Sanford Citizen writer.
Yeah.
Or so you think. And he's Sanford Citizen's writer is talking to what's her name?
Oh gosh, like
She
she owns a
runs.
floral shop. She
Yeah,
runs a
she owns a
floral
floral
shop.
shop.
I'm trying to think of her name. Like I literally just watched this movie recently.
Yeah.
Leslie Tiller.
Yeah, Leslie Tiller.
Yeah, I'm thinking like
Eh,
the names are generally representative of like jobs, and Tiller,
yeah,
Leslie
Tiller. Yeah,
Tiller,
Draper, Tiller,
merchant,
Merchant.
messenger.
Yep, Messenger. And you get so many, or there's he's seeing these clues, and just before he's able to do anything, the detectives come up and start ridiculing him, and then then he gets asked to perform a raffle, but he also has to meet Messenger at freaking 3 p.m. But before Messenger can get there, you see the axe murderer go up to the top of the roof and just push a damn thing on his freaking head. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh god damn! I was going to tell my mom to watch this, and my
Yes,
mom's not.
that scene is like really. That scene is really graphic.
That was the goriest shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, he just dropped the
I mean, it
fucking.
makes sense because he has a piece of
Yeah.
like concrete, literal like stone concrete or whatever, falling on his right on his head. So it's like it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, the fact that he was actually able to still stand after getting a slab like that and crushing him, I'm like, that's impressive. First off, but that is just so fucking nuts.
Yeah, it
Oh.
was. It really was. I know, like it took me back initially when I saw it because I'm like, holy shit.
No, right? Everything else has been tame. I mean, yes, there's been decaffeinations, but decapitations, but they
Yeah,
call it
that's like a
decaffeinated.
joke. So like, he wakes up like he's still groggy and he goes, decaffeinated?
Yeah, decaffeinated. Decaffeinated.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody's
What?
been decaffeinated. What? But then you get a full blown freaking head explode, body just haul or eviscerate. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit. And then he starts putting it together. This is a murder, so he's like, you know what to do? Y'all know what to do. And they're all pissed off. And then he's like,
Yeah.
you two know what to do too. They're standing in the rain, just guarding the whole place. And Nick
Yes.
Frost just has had enough. And he's like, hands him the freaking monkey and walks off.
Well, yeah, he's he's kind of had enough because like he's like telling the angel like we should just go. There's nothing
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah.
and to Angel's credits, like he does say like there's always something going. Like it's like have you been listening to? There's always something going on. Have you been listening to a word I've said?
Yeah.
Sort of situation where it's like and he is rather mean about it, but at the same time like he's right. He's right. There is always something going on. You can't just like
Yeah.
turn yourself off necessarily just because there's like nothing happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what gets like Danny upset, so he runs off with the big stuffed monkey that Angelo had won.
Oh yeah, we
Won the
got to
fair.
cover that because the
Yeah.
freaking, or he does go to the fair and he does the air rifle. And he's like, I never wanted to touch another air, or you know how to feel. It's an air rifle. So he cocks down the air rifle, and as he cocks down, 5 targets go down. It's like that's what
Yeah.
the fuck. And then Nick Frost grabs it and shoots the guy in the
Shoots the
leg.
doctor in the leg.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you're a doctor. Deal with it."
Yeah, like you're like he's a doctor, he can deal with it. He's like I've never shot anybody before.
Hey, Mr. Butt Crack Media. Thank you for stopping in. How you doing?
No. Hello?
It's like, yeah. And Jack of all casuals, always a pleasure. Okay, back to the concert reminder for the greater good. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the greater good.
I actually have that clip. Or at least like essentially a clip. As
Yeah.
part of my whenever I do live streams. So when people are talking about that, essentially it's like, it's all for the greater good. The greater good. I just feel like that's what I feel like when I like especially the pandemic talk. I'm like
Yeah.
like wear a mask, protect everybody else. I was like I hear them saying for the greater good.
Yes, right? Holy crap.
Yes.
Now that I think about it. Oh god, now that you actually think about it, that actually would make sense if they're all that frickin' just nuts.
Yeah.
Let's see if I've been banned from Twitter yet.
So and then this is like basically where Angel starts at least putting together what he believes is going on. Or at least he's trying to connect the crimes, since he's looking at all like he starts looking through the copy of the Sanford Citizen that he has in his room,
Mm-hmm.
and figures that like he's probably got to look through other copies because there might be clues, because he thinks that these murders are linked. He thinks they're murders. Everybody else is calling them accidental deaths, or just like just accidents, and he's figuring that no, there has to be something more going on. It's like something that's not sitting right with him. So he looks through all the copies of the newspaper, and he um kind of by way like kind of his way of apologizing to Danny. He
Yeah.
asks him to help him like figure out what's going on with these incidents that's happened,
Mm-hmm.
by partly asking for his help, and then partly like saying that he wanted the monkey for Danny. So just kind
Yeah.
of see how he is starting to
Warm up to him.
warm up, kind of be more human in a sense. Like he's like starting to be like, a little bit more, I like to say, human in his feelings. It's like not that he's necessarily robotic, but he's now like look. You can look at him and go, I can see a human underneath there, not just a super cop. And I love like the cutscenes where they're kind of going through each of the deaths and how they're connected. Like Martin
Yeah.
Martin Blower is connected, or George Merchant is connected to Martin Blower, who's connected to Eve Draper because she worked in this particular office, so she would have inside information for this bypass that was going in. And George Merchant wanted to build a supermarket or like a shopping center type of deal, and Tim Messenger kind of uncovered that links, so he had to
Mm-hmm.
be offed because um of what he knew. At least that's what Angel thinks.
Yeah. And then we get
They
we
started putting
get
stuff together. At least what he thinks.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then and still nobody wants to believe him at the station. And everybody's just like making fun of him. And then he witnesses the murder of what's her name after she tells him that she was gonna sell up with her property because she
Yeah.
wants to move out of town, while he's actually at the store to get Nick Frost because of it being his birthday, and he's going to get him a piece or one of those peace lilies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I love when they're actually at the station. The police woman there, she just comes in with the freaking cake and a pair of rubber breasts.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my
Like
god, really?
we didn't exactly touch on like the other like one's one's a police sergeant, one's a constable. I don't know the ranks of like the law enforcement
Yeah,
in the
they're all
UK.
different. Yeah.
But like she drops like a lot of innuendos.
Oh yeah, she is just. That's like
And
holy shit,
and
man.
the joke with the PC behavior is kind of centered around her, because you have Nick Angel saying that like he's calling her a police officer and Danny calls her a police woman sort of situation.
Yeah.
So she's been, and so Angel's like trying to treat her as kind of like, I don't want to say genderless, but like it's like one of the guys essentially.
Yeah.
There's like no differentiation, but she just drops every sexual innuendo out there.
Yeah. It's like holy shit, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's she even freaking says that she's been around the whole department.
Yeah, it's like I've been around a few times. And like she
Yeah, I'm like,
she like kind of like just like gets close to Angel, and he's like, okay. So it's like I'm like sitting there going like, I don't think she cares if you call her a woman.
yeah, I know, right? It's like I think she's proud that she's a woman.
Yeah.
And then he witnesses that murder, and he chases the person down, and he realizes, and you slowly realize if you pay attention to the chase when when the killer busts through one of the greenhouses, there's blood left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And you also realize that when he ever rounds a corner, friggin' Angel notices that he somehow gets a huge boost away or a bigger distance away. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like how is he outrunning me? Because I was right behind him essentially.
Yeah.
So how's he out?
And that's actually when I started putting it together. There has to be more than one of these guys. There's no way that person's catching up, especially when whoever it was sliced her leg.
Yeah.
There's just no way. And so I'm like, okay, now they're obviously going to go after Timothy Dalton's character next, but he's also reporting that it's a murder, and he's like, maybe she just fell on her shears. Oh, fucking really?
Yeah, like he puts like a bunch of coins in the swear box, and he's like, Leslie
Yeah,
Jones was fucking murdered.
Yeah, and then Nick puts in one, and he's like, thank you, or thanks, Danny, thanks, thanks.
Yeah.
They're thanking everybody for putting a freaking
because like the one detective just goes like the gif I use where it's like murder, murder, murder. Change the fucking record, and then you see the other detective in the back like slam a coin in the box, and like thank you, thank you, Andy.
Yeah. And then Jim Broadbent just comes out. He's like, you got it, or maybe you should just take a few days or whatever. Everybody's thinking he's nuts, and he actually isn't nuts. And so he actually confronts Timothy Dalton. He's like,
and if you think about it, like, I know you said, like, it's like, and we're going to talk about this, that it ends up being more than one killer, but at the same time, it's like, he does have a case against him in a sense, because, like, of the fact that, because everything, like, in the movie kind of ties together.
Yeah, he's talking about how he wants to kill people.
Yeah, loving to run in the morning. Where he, like, makes that not offhand comment, but, like, like, kind of, like, comment about, like, lopping up people's heads who go to other supermarkets as traders, things like that.
And you find out that he's actually talking
to Leslie Tiller and things like that. It's all that like comes together, but then he has no cut on his leg.
Yeah, although he does have a or leg adjusters that keep your socks up.
Yeah, but like, Angel thinks he's gotten him. Yeah. He needs proof, but there's no cut. So that's where you start thinking, going, okay, so he's definitely a red herring. He's definitely got motives. So, like, what could be going on? And then you think it's like more than one. So you're like thinking it's like maybe two or something like that. Like two or three.
Like, who would be the second one that could be like running so freaking fast?
Yeah.
And then you find out when he gets to his apartment, he gets attacked by the axe murderer, and it turns out to be the fucking Yarp guy.
Yeah, Lurch. They call him Lurch.
Yeah, Lurch. And it's like, oh my god. He's like, you really want to do it? He's like, and then he shows him the plant. Or no, he shows him
a monkey, and then hits him with the plant.
Yeah, the monkey. And he starts laughing, or he starts smiling. He's like, or he gives off the plant pun.
Playtime's over. And just like,
yeah, playtime's over. Crash.
Yes, crash. And I love when he gets the picks up the phone, like the call's coming through, and he's like, because Lurch at that point says Yarp for yes. Yep. And it gets to a point where it's like you hear Timothy Dalton's voice, and he's like, he's not going to get back up again. And Angel has to pause, like do a long pause, like, how does this guy say no?
Yeah, it's like, Yarp.
Yeah, like Yarp. It's like
Yarp. Good. Well, then just meet us at the castle.
Yeah.
And then you find out the big twist that it's a bunch of people, not just one of them.
Yeah, it's the Neighborhood Watch Alliance who are like.
Yeah, it's the Neighborhood Watch Alliance. And it's like, what the fuck?
I love when the twist is like when you find out their motivations. Do you think like there's like some like it's like it's going to tie in with Angel's detection, basically his detective work? Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. It's just because Martin Blower was a horrible actor.
Yeah. We're killing them for the pettiest fucking reasons. Or we killed Merchant because his house didn't fit in aesthetically.
Yeah, Eve Draper got an annoying laugh.
Yeah. And what's his Romeo, what was his name?
Messenger, because he had persistent spelling errors and mistakes in his articles.
Yep. For the greater good. For the greater good.
Yeah, that clip. Like, I have that.
So they kept on going, and he I just love it. He's like, shut it! He just tells them all to shut it.
Shut it.
And then he's like, you're all going to come with me. And then you get the bigger twist.
Neighborhood Watch Alliance. Have you seen George C. Scott Christmas Carol? Have you seen that version with George C. Scott? The actor who plays Christmas Present is one of the Neighborhood Watch Alliance. He's the guy that watches the cameras or the monitors in the police station. Yep, Edward Woodward.
Right. Nice. So
I guess like the leader of the Neighborhood Watch Alliance, because he's kind of like he runs the meetings.
Yeah. And then you get the biggest reveal that Jim Broadbent, the chief, is the one solely responsible for all of it, because he's the one that basically tasks the neighborhood watch. And he's like, my wife went nuts because of one year that, or the reason why they killed
the other
Tiller.
motivation is because every year they've won what's the award? The best village award. Best village award.
Yeah, best village award.
And they have to make sure it's like the best village, which means they have to get rid of like the garbage in their eyes, so to speak.
Yeah.
And one year they didn't win because some gypsies moved into the area.
Yep. And his wife went nuts because of it or something.
So they lost it, and his wife
lost her mind, and it's like,
which is tragic. But then he decided, like, I'm gonna off all these people who will likely ruin our chances of winning best village to kind of like honor his late wife.
Yeah,
which is like kind of like on one hand romantic, and then like very, very psychotically so.
And it's like, for the greater good, shut it.
Yes.
and
they make it look like Danny's involved too. They make it look like Danny's involved in a way.
Yeah, when he comes in and he's like, you gotta freaking, he's like, just go with him, man, get out of town. And then he starts running and he falls into this depression, and he's finding all these dead bodies, and all of the stuff is just starting to make more sense. Even the freaking living statue is down there dead, although he's still posed in his
still posed. I thought he's still posed.
I'm like, how is he still posed if he's dead?
I know.
You see all the dead hoodie kids and whatnot. I'm like, holy shit, man! They're killing kids. They're killing everybody. And he comes
and Filch, and then
yep.
And the guy that Angel replaced, that they say like lost his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And they find out that no, he didn't lose his mind. And just leave. He was actually killed because he was actually asking questions like Angel is doing. He was like starting to put things together. I think this is not right.
Popplewell, I think his name was. Yeah. And
so you find his body there.
Yep, and then he gets out and he's surrounded by everybody. Nick Frost just comes up, stabs him, and he just drops. And then they basically task him to get rid of him. And he's like, or I love how he just opens up the trunk and he's looking down at him, and you think he's dead, but he's like, then you realize he wasn't alive. He pulled the ketchup trick
again. It comes back. Everything goes back, and it's that trick that he pulled.
Yep.
Yeah, it's ketchup trick again.
I got banned from Mr. Buttcrack Media. Yeah. And oh my god, it's just freaking nuts. So he's like, it's too big, man. He's my dad. I can't turn him in, and just get the hell out. And you actually think that he gives up for a moment, but then because he's at that mart, and then he's buying a couple things, and then he turns around and sees Bad Boys 2 or something like that.
Yeah, Bad Boys 2 and Point Break, which are the movies that
Point Break.
And he watched, and he's
just
clicks for him. And do you know who the clerk is?
He looked familiar.
That's Edgar Wright in a cameo.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
He, like I said, I'm sorry. I know this movie like the back of my hand almost. So there's not much
it's good to see somebody
who tell me like that I don't already know, and that's Edgar Wright. And I just don't know how he just plays it. So just like whenever you go into a convenience store, there's like no like you can see like people there working there for the most part dead inside sometimes, and he just stands stands there like, is there anything else you want, sir? Like he's like deadpan says it.
Yeah,
and it's so believable because that's like not all my experiences, but most of my experiences with like gas station clerks and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or like
especially late
at night ones where they're like, you can tell they do not want to be there.
It's like, I'm fucking dead inside. I just want to go home and watch porn.
Yeah, pretty much. And he just delivers it so well.
Yeah.
And, and then he sees the DVDs, Bad Boys 2 and Point Break. So he starts buying like all these cans of spray paint.
And he just
new sunglasses.
He's gonna go rogue, essentially. And I love how he gets in or drives back into the town, and there's the old man and his wife. He drop kicks the lady
Yeah, oh my god, yeah,
who
he
tries
drops.
shooting at him. It's like, oh my
He
god,
punches the
dude,
guy and
that
then
is just
drop kicks the the old woman.
drop kicks his wife. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you're not gonna win. He then rides it. He goes into the station. Everybody's fucking ignoring him.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be dead, but everybody is freaking ignoring him. He just grabs all the fucking guns and shit.
Yeah, all the guns from the evidence room that were confiscated from Filch and leaves the mine,
Yeah.
the sea mine.
Yeah.
He leaves like one heavily armed cop, and instead of the car, he's riding a horse into the downtown area.
Oh yeah,
and he comes across
somebody from London called. He turns around and he's like,
"I'll tell you."
Or he just looks like he's ready to murder a guy. He's like, I'll tell him you call back later. Huh? Yeah.
It's like, well, that's strange. I didn't know we had a mounted division. And the other morning clerk, morning desk sergeants, like there just no one tells me nothing.
Yeah. Then everybody, or he rides into town. Everybody who thought he was dead is just giving him the most evil eye.
Yeah, like shocked and like just eyeing him.
Really want to do this?
He's talking in front of a group of kids, and he's like, "You want to be useful?" And he throws them this bag, and you find out in the bag is the cans of spray paint.
And they're spray painting all the cameras while the dude is just looking away or reading his book. And I'm like, this is going to be great. And then he freaking just it's the shootout at the OK Corral, man. It's just so freaking great.
Oh yeah.
Everybody who
all he says is morning, and all of them just scatter like for their own guns, essentially.
Yep. And like she said, there's always something going on. The guy with the big coat, even though it's kind of warm out, Lady Tariel, good to see you. Next to Clue, this is next favorite movie. Nice. And the woman who's always riding the bike, she lifts up her thing. She has 2 guns and freaking, I think, silencers to go with. But
the
guy with the rifle, or the guy with the warm coat, he has guns underneath his jacket. Everybody's just ripping out guns to shoot at him.
Yeah, even the doctor, everyone basically from the Neighborhood Watch Alliance is
all of them,
are trying to take him out.
Yeah, and he's shooting back, and then Nick Frost sees the woman on her bike, and so he finally decides, like, screw it, opens the door on her.
Yeah,
so she tumbles over
the door.
Yeah,
and that's when they go after the 2 professional actors, who are part of the Neighborhood Watch Alliance, and the doctor, eventually comes out, and it's just mayhem. Just mayhem. I love how the doctor gets shot. Again, it goes back to something that happened earlier in the film, so everything ties in together.
And he actually gets them dead to rights, and then he's like, "Throw down your weapons." Nick throws his weapon down and blows the doctor's foot off.
Yeah. Just the gun goes off perfectly.
You're the doctor. Deal with
Angel, it. Just gets up and goes, "You're a doctor. Deal with it." And Danny's like, "Yeah, motherfucker." It's like, "What are you thinking? Pub?" And they just throw a chair or something through the window, and
to get them to start shooting.
The owners are behind the bar, and they're just shooting, just continuous stream of bullets. And then they stop because they're what's going on? And then you see Danny and Angel just fly through the air, shooting 2 guns at once at them. Exactly
or you ever fly through the air shooting 2 guns at the same time?
Yeah. Yes.
That's just
they get into a shootout with the pub owner and his wife.
Yeah, and he shoots the bear trap over the pub owner's head.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, that's just so great.
And that's when the police finally show up, and they had to it's taken them a long time because they've had to dust off the riot gear. So they're coming in wearing riot gear.
One even looks like he has a Captain America shield riot gear or riot shield. It's just perfectly round. I'm like, fuck. So yeah, and then the chief comes in, and I love how he just wins them over. He's like, come on, guys, you gotta know what you're talking about and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he he runs away after he shoots the chandelier. Then they get outside, and the freaking priest is trying to talk sense into him.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no. And then he's like, oh, fuck it. He has 2 wrist sling pistols or 22s.
Yeah, it's like, like, oh, fuck off, grasshopper. He's like starts
Yeah.
shooting at them.
And then,
And like when he shot, he goes,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I know. Holy shit.
Like it's like it's a shootout, but you have to laugh because it's like a priest getting shot. He says, Jesus Christ.
I mean, that's almost reminiscent to the Machete movie with Danny Trejo.
Mm-hmm.
And Cheech Marin plays his brother, who's also a priest, who just ends up blowing people apart with shotguns. God has mercy. I don't.
Yes.
I mean,
I love
it's so great. Yeah. And so then after everything is said and done, they go to the mart. And he's like, okay, I'm going to make sure that what are we going to do? Well, we should go in through the front, and they wouldn't expect that.
Oh, that's another thing that we didn't touch on.
What he said.
That guy that gave like the rundown is like was always asking Angels, like, it's like, help me. Like, what do we do? Like
so help me here.
And when he's finally given the opportunity to be a cop, he's like just off like that.
Yeah.
Like, what we should do this, and then Angel's like, very good. What he said.
Yeah. Very good. What he said. Then he's like, all right, I'm gonna see if anybody's up or anybody's here. Goes in. They're like, okay. And then he just suddenly gets thrown right back out through the glass. Somebody's home.
Yeah. So somebody's there. And he's like, okay, you deal with the store. I'll deal with the trolley boy. Like, what? And then like, you see Lurch come out, like, just like grab Angel, like just throw him back in the supermarket. And they're like, oh.
That fight was so freaking great, man.
I know. That whole scene in the supermarket where it's like what they're dealing with.
You don't really want to do this, Lurch.
Yes. It's like, do you really want to do this?
He's like,
yarp.
Yarp.
Yes. It's like, okay.
It's like, shit.
Fight. I think the other cops are dealing with the butchers because they're like throwing all the cutlery at them.
Yeah. And you see one of them get you see one of the detectives get freaking sauced in the face, and everybody's like, no, it's just sauce, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's like, no,
now, what was the deli glass made of? Bulletproof glass? Because they're shooting, and
it kind of
it looked like it was because it wasn't
that glass is kind of thick, so it's like it might. So I don't.
Yeah,
know
it's like holy shit.
But they finally get the best of the butchers because they kind of like link all the carts and just ram.
Yep,
into
they ram the deli.
Yeah. And then and again another sexual innuendo from the only like woman on the force, like the police woman, and you can see the one chick who's kind of like the assistant or whatever. To me, going in the supermarket, just run out. She has something in her hand, like she's gonna stab someone, and the police woman just picks up one of those like caution wet signs or whatever, wet floor, and just whacks her right across the face, and just like you see the other chick just slide on the floor, knocked out. And of course, she has an innuendo. It's like nothing like a little bit of girl on girl. So it's like,
he
always has one.
Like,
he always has one. Like, oh,
yeah, it's there. Perfect.
And then they start getting attacked, so to speak, because like the store clerks are throwing fruit at them or selling food at them.
Yeah. And they start shooting at people who are just throwing fruit and shit. Yeah. I'm like, oh, damn, if this was today, they'd be so fired.
Yeah.
But so they're going after, yeah.
And they go out.
They start the hot pursuit.
Yeah, go after Timothy Dalton and find that, like the chief is like there in the cop car, and like he's gonna drive off with
driver.
Dalton, and that's when the hot pursuit happens.
Yeah, and they drive by the adjudicators that are there to score the town, and they're just looking down. It's like, well, they're the adjudicators.
Yeah. And
And
another
have you
bit
ever
of
shot
trivia
your
is
gun
the women.
out or during a hot pursuit?
Yeah, and the women adjudicators are Simon Pegg's and Nick Frost's moms.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so basically they
Oh, the
just
more
kind of
you
like
know.
they just kind of just watch the chase, and then all three just kind of turn and look at the camera, and then you see the sign in the back just fall.
Yep.
They like, good luck, Sanford. It's like Sanford, and just falls.
Yep. And those questions that Nick Frost asked: have you ever been in a high pursuit? Yes, but have you ever shot a gun in high pursuit? Well, no. Well, he does now.
Yeah, he does now.
And then
And
they the freaking goose.
yeah, the
I swear to God, when I
swan
saw
shows up
this,
again
yeah,
because
the
Dalton.
swan.
Yeah, because what's
He
why am
swerves
I
to
blanking
miss
on
it.
Tim Dalton's character? Like character,
Skinner.
Skinner. Like he's like Swan, and they like like the chief just
And
just turns to avoid the swan, and Angel says the same thing because they're pursuing behind and goes Swan, and Danny just stops and and Angel's like
they grab the swan.
I grab
But
Swan like this is I'm
when
done with
they
the sixth swan in the back seat.
yeah, but when Dalton and Broadbent dodged the swan, I could have sworn I heard the fucking swan say fuck. I'm like, did that thing, or it's because it lets out its honk and it's like fuck. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it kind of sounds like that.
just say fuck.
It kind of does sound like that. It kind of does sound like
Yeah,
that.
it's like, oh shit.
And
And they
yeah,
get, oh my god,
and then they end
they
up at that
fight.
my mini model of the village, the
Yeah,
model village,
yeah, and
and Angel and
the
Skinner get
fight
into a fight, and you see, you think
that
Angel's going to lose the fight because Skinner's got him basically
dead to rights.
dead to rights, and so finally the Angel turns it back on him, not beats him down, and then turns because there's a kid there
Yeah,
who's been looking at the model village, and so when Dalton gets back up, he has this box cutter on him, and he starts charging Angel, but steps ironically on a model of the Summerfield, which is the shop's car,
yeah.
and it's
Ends
flies
up
and
slipping.
gets impaled on the steeple of the church.
Yeah, through the jaw, but it doesn't go up into his head. It just comes out of his mouth. So he's not dead. So it's like, oh god,
Yeah,
this really. I'm like, I
that's
can't
probably the one
watch
thing that got
this.
me. Yeah, that's the part that really got me, where it's I was unnerved. It's just a little bit when Messenger was killed, but that I was like, I can't look at this. I really can't look at this.
I couldn't either. It's like, oh, I can't fucking watch this. God
Yeah.
damn it. This really hurts.
I know. It's just stop talking. I don't want don't just turn the camera away.
Yeah,
Turn
it's
the camera
just
away.
get the scene over. Get the scene over.
Oh my
And then
God.
then Danny's dad comes back and he's holding them hostage and shit.
Yeah.
And then Danny was talking earlier in the film about Point Break, where he points the gun up because he can't shoot his best friend and he ends up emptying the clip or the mag and whatnot. And then so when his father's running away, he
does. Yeah.
That's exactly, yeah, he wants to, and then he just turns it up and shoots the whole damn thing. I'm like, this is just hilarious, dude.
And then the chief gets in the unwrecked cop car, which ends up being Angel's and Danny's car, and what's still in the back seats
But
is
the
a
freaking
swan,
swan,
which attacks the chief.
yeah, it's
and you see the
it just
swan
goes
go to bite
full
him.
freaking monster.
Yeah, just goes to bite him, and that's all you see. And then the next thing you know, it's an outside shot. And you see the car just right into a
Crashing
tree.
through a field and right into a tree.
Yeah, and Angel and Danny are just watching this.
Yep. And then you get to all the mug shots of everybody, and they still have the thing. And they still have Timothy Dalton, the thing through his freaking mouth as he's getting the damn mug
We also
shot.
find out that the callers from London were actually his
his bosses.
His bosses, the figures have they've gone off basically. So like it's like since you left, so
we've
it's kind
kind
of
of,
easy to come back.
but
And
I
he's
don't
like,
want
yeah,
to.
like I don't want to. I'm like he realizes Angel realizes he's home. Like
Trying to
this
get
is
stuck
where he
here.
like he belongs essentially. So
And then they're
and
all
when
at
the
the.
mug shots happen, and it's like I love all the mug shots because they're still
I
like
know,
like
right?
yelling at the screen and things like that. And it's like
Yeah. Jim Broadbent's just freaking furious.
yeah, and
Or
then
the
the
Chief's
doctor
like
trying
so
to stand there
furious
to
when
do
he's
the
done.
mug shot, but he keeps falling over because like he can't stand on the one leg.
Yep. And so then you think everything is all said and done. You think it's all finally over. And then the head of the damn NWA comes up from upstairs and with the freaking elephant gun.
Yeah.
And or he's getting ready to shoot Simon, but Danny jumps in front of him. And he shoots it back and he trips over the fucking land or the sea mine. And it blows up the whole damn station.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nobody is surviving this.
That's what I
But
thought
everybody,
too. That's what I thought too, and I was like, well, nope.
yep. I'm like, and then he goes and running. He's like, Danny, you're gonna be okay, buddy. You're gonna be okay. And it's like Danny, and then 1 year later,
Mm-hmm. And he's at a grave,
and he
all
gets
he has
out
the
of the
last name is
cottage that's
Butterman.
finally finished.
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes and he sees Butterman, and you think it's Danny, but Danny just walks up. And he's like, "Oh, those are nice, and what are you gonna?" And he's like, then you see it's Irene Butterman, his mother.
Yeah, which is sweet. And he's like,
Yeah,
like,
it really
you
is.
think Angel's talking to the grave when he's like about the flowers, and like, I hope these are okay. And he's like,
Yep.
Danny's like, yeah, they're lovely, and he puts the flowers at his mom's grave. It's just like pretty bittersweet.
And then they get in their car and they get it, or they're just driving down the road, and then they get a call. It's like some small, insignificant crime at the mart, and they hit the emergency brake, freaking going fast and furious.
Oh yeah, like, and you find also that Angel's the new chief.
Yep,
He's the new chief.
Angel's the
and
new
it's
chief.
like, we've got some hippie types messing with this bins at the supermarket, and he's like, we'll take care of it. He's like, righto, and like it's like flips on the siren, like just like puts it in the high gear, like I don't drive stick, but like puts it
emergency
in
brake, high
gear,
gear.
and it's like just like shoots like right towards the supermarket, and that's how it ends basically.
Yeah. So, oh my god, when I saw this movie, it was just so freaking great. My favorite. What was your favorite part about it?
My favorite part about it is like I love pretty much everything about it, and it's like a lot of it has to do with the humor in it, and it's like it's kind of like the style of humor that I gravitate to, the dry, witty, almost sarcastic type of humor. So it's easy for me to get into like British shows or movies, especially in that regard, because I gravitate to that method of like comedy, basically. So it's not exactly necessarily for everyone. So if you are more into kind of like obvious slapstick jokes type of comedy, this might not necessarily be for you. But it's like I'm not saying that to judge anyone who doesn't like it. I'm just saying like it is kind of an acquired taste in a sense.
Yeah.
Because like you don't like go in expecting the same, like say like this to be like a National Lampoon's movie or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. It's like you laugh, but it's genuine laughter. It's not side splitting, but it does elicit a genuine emotional response. When someone drops like a witty remark, or you see like, oh, there's a connection here, and here's like just with Timothy Dalton just like standing in like up against the wall when he's telling Nick Angel's like, feel free to go through all the tapes, and he smiles, and his smile, his face is like exactly how his picture is in the wall, and you notice that, and you have to laugh because like he's just like a perfect shot right there. That's like so if I say anything about this movie without going into specific scenes, that's what I love about it.
Honestly, this movie, it was a slow burn for me for seeing it the first time, but I eventually it became so much better when they introduced the axe murdering and whatnot. I'm like, okay, now it's getting interesting. And then you see all this, or when Nick Frost pulls a prank with the ketchup on at the pub, it's like, what the Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. It's like, what the hell? That actually got me really good. And
Yeah.
the whole movie is great laugh. It really is. It's something that a lot of people are missing nowadays. And
Mhm.
I'm just so, or I love Nick Frost and Simon Pegg movies. They are so freaking funny, and I'm trying to actually add them more to my library.
Mhm.
And I'm definitely, or I rented this one for a couple days, but I really am so glad I did because it was great
Yeah.
to see. And it's like she actually picked a movie I haven't seen before, so that works.
Oh, that works. Yeah.
So
And
how would you rate it?
what would I rate it?
Yeah,
Subjectively, I would give it like a 10 out of 10 just because it's like one of my
yeah,
favorite comedies. Objectively, I would give it maybe I'd say it goes as high as a 9 out of 10 because there's like
yeah,
every scene pretty much works. There might be like little things here and there where it's like kind of like how it's not exactly a mark against it, but like how Dalton like his injury and things like that where I couldn't look at the screen for a while.
yeah,
I actually got kind of unnerved,
yeah,
but it is almost a perfect comedy. It's almost perfect comedy. Everything ties in. So like no line or offhand remark is like just left by the wayside. Essentially, it whatever said or done in the beginning of the film ties into something later,
mm-hmm,
and that kind of attests to Edgar, like basically the writing and comedy team of Edgar Wright, Simon Page, and Nick Frost, where it's like that you're going to be like at least not necessarily with this movie, but you're going to be in for a ride once the plot
yeah,
gets going.
yeah,
Even Even Shaun of the Dead was kind of a slow burn. You'd have to go back and rewatch it because you said you haven't seen it in years. But if you
mm-hmm,
go back and rewatch that, even that's a slow burn. But the slow burn works because it's a build
mm-hmm,
up to the zombie apocalypse, and then once that happens, it all picks up, and that's kind of like a perfect style for them. Uh,
yeah, or yeah, piss
yeah,
taker,
yeah, I recognize him. Yeah,
yeah,
he's the one who called about the swan.
yeah.
He was also in
PI sticker, piss taker, come on.
yeah, yes, Mr. Staker.
Yes,
Cut
Mr.
to that
Staker. What?
scene.
That is so freaking great. That was the one that, or that was actually the area where I got my first big laugh, where he does the whole piss taker thing. Then he's like, "Yes, Mr. Staker."
Yes, and he's asking you to describe the swan, and it just
Yeah,
and
oh,
the
it's
fact that he
Swan.
actually goes into like just kind of
The
describing it,
description.
yeah, and like and
Yeah.
then an Angel's like anything else, and he's like, well, it's a
Well,
swan.
it's a swan.
It's like what else do you want me to say? Or situation.
Yeah,
So I love
that
that.
was so. Yeah. Now, me objectively, I would actually agree. It's more of a 9 because this movie was meant to be what it was.
Hmm.
It's no, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They did a great job telling the story. They kept the humor. The writing worked in so many ways because even small little things that you thought in the beginning of the movie was inconsequential
Yeah.
turns out to be valid later on in a film.
Hmm.
This movie was actually a stroke of genius in a way
Yeah.
when you think about it because there's just so many ways to or you really can't find much flaw into it. I mean,
Yeah.
sure, you got some shitty CGI with the exploding head, but
Yeah. Like
I
that.
gotta
That's
say
like
the prosthetic work with that Timothy Dalton under the chin thing grossed me the hell out and looked pretty damn real.
yeah. So yeah,
So
it's like
yeah, they did
it'd be
pretty
like hard
well.
for me to be hard pressed to find like any like big mistakes or like like parts where I didn't like. Like it's like you said,
Put
like
it this way, you'd
the
have to
one
look it
off the
up on
perfect score.
moviemistakes.com.
Yeah, like the one off the perfect score would be. I'm sure there were mistakes, but it's like they're so subtle that it's like because you're enjoying the
Mm-hmm.
film that you easily overlook them because you're engrossed in the plot at that point.
Yeah.
And
And besides, there's no such thing as a perfect film.
yeah, so
Unless
like I
it's
said, like
Princess Diaries.
definitely it is a perfect film for me because I could go back, I could quote this movie. I know the scenes. I know the order. I know what happens. Like for me, like it's a movie that I actually enjoyed the first time, but then absolutely loved the second time and subsequent viewings of it to that point where it's like you asked me like, is there a way for you to watch it? And I'm like, yeah. Like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like, I
You
kind of almost said,
basically can
I don't
watch
need
it
to
right
watch.
in your damn head.
Yeah, I don't need to watch it. So but I have a way to watch it. They
Yeah.
kind of like
I mean,
refresh me a little bit.
that was just me basically looking out for the guest in case it's like,
Oh no,
you have a way to
I
watch it?
get it.
Because
But
if you
I
need to,
kind of
I can
got a
always
chuckle
get the
out of
damn
it
movie and
because
send it to you.
yeah. But I get that, so I'm not like trying to disparage you or anything like that. But I did kind of
Yeah.
get a chuckle out of that because I'm like, I can like literally watch this movie in my head.
And that has actually something it's like a lot of people are like, have you ever seen it? I'm like, I can watch that in my head.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
I can
Movies
watch it in my
Anywhere,
head.
their Twitter page, they actually asked on Twitter, it's like, what movie can you watch that you know, or that you can watch on mute and know every line to? I'm like, there aren't enough characters. And I quote tweeted this. I'm like, there aren't enough characters to cover all the movies that I could do
Yeah.
this with because there's over 30 movies that I can literally quote word for word.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, like
I
my
mean,
wall with the uneven posters, like those movies, I can pretty much quote.
mhm.
I can
Yeah,
pretty much quote and
and
like everything, every scene talk about.
yeah, it's like every freaking movie that I see, if it gets me to enjoy it, if it can actually get me to tear up or elicit emotion or anything like that, it's good enough to stay in my head.
Yeah.
And I have a very expansive mind, folks. Let's just say that. I mean, I got a veritable freaking multiverse in my head. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So this
so
is one of those movies for me.
yeah. So subjectively, for me, I would actually put it at a 9.5 because it does have a slow burn. And I'm like, and I was almost ready to freaking hang this shit up. I'm like, why the fuck am I? Oh, an axe murderer. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like if you said something to me, I would have been like, no, just keep watching. Just keep watching.
Yeah, it's like, why am I fucking watching? Oh, axe murderer.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this just got interesting now.
So yeah, so like
because I'm like, I like Nick Frost and Simon Pegg movies, but this is fucking wearing thin. But I'm so glad that I kept on watching it because it's like, I'm gonna watch this. I have to do it so I can do the thing with Mara. And I'm so glad that I did because I ended up enjoying this film so much. I mean, I might actually buy it at a later date, but I'm definitely gonna get it.
Oh yeah.
So
it is
yeah.
really
Anyway,
the beginning of the chat, if you haven't seen it, is worth the watch. And it, like I said in the
it
beginning,
really
if you did
is.
miss it, it is considered part of a trilogy, but not in the trilogy like in the sense that you would know a trilogy as. And it's called a Cornetto trilogy, and that's because of the
it's
connection with the
not.
ice cream that they use.
It's not a story trilogy. It's a gimmick trilogy.
Yeah,
so to speak.
And the gimmick is the Cornetto ice cream treat, and specifically the colored labels that are used to kind of symbolize the plot, essentially, or at least the overall plot of the film.
Yep. But anyway, that does lead to it. Oh my god, we could go for freaking hours if we wanted to talking about this. But I also do got to get other things done because I actually got a couple videos that I got to record before tonight.
I have to get up at 5.
And yeah, you got to be up at 5 too. So
yep.
Before we go, give yourself a plug.
So you can find me on YouTube. I will eventually get back into a regular schedule of making videos. Right now, that's up in the air because I'm gone for pretty much the entire day. Don't get back until mid to late afternoon thereabouts, and I have to take care of a lot of stuff because I am student teaching right now. So I'm gone from 6:30 in the morning until going on like 3:30 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon when I finally am able to get back to my home. So the only thing that I am able to do is stream. So you can find me live streams on YouTube. I normally do Cringe Factory every Wednesday. I generally do a once-a-month top 10 with Steve Kenobi. And for this top 10 this month, which will be not this Friday, but the following Friday, the top 10 80s and 90s comedies. So that was his choice. So tune in for that. It'll be not necessarily our top 10, like top 10 greatest 80s and 90s comedies, but just our top 10 subjective list that we enjoy. So hope you tune in for that. And then Talk Nerdy to Us is a live stream I do with my nerdy home. I don't want to say for certain whose channel it's going to be on this week because I have to ask her since she skipped last week. It was supposed to be on her channel and she wasn't feeling well. So I don't know if she's going to want it on her channel or just have it on my channel again. So we kind of keep in the normal rotation we're on. So I'll let you all know once I figure that out, once I get a response from her. But that's at 10 p.m. Eastern, either on my channel or her channel. And then you can find me at Twitch, Jade_Fire. I play a variety of games. I'm getting into playing Metal Gear Solid 5 on Mondays for a part of a cosplay stream. I cosplay as Quiet from that game. Tuesdays is becoming Fortnite, no build Fortnite streams. Thursday looks like it's going to be Soul Calibur 6, just so I have a variety of games. And then Friday, right now, I'm grinding Horizon Forbidden West. I'm trying to get through that game as quickly as possible, but it is a slow burn. You start talking about slow burns, that's a slow burn. Enjoyable, but it's slow burn.
Yeah.
That is where you can find me. That's where you can find me.
Alrighty. And also, I want to thank everybody in the chat, Ragfire, Jacob Ironside, Dread Saber Phil, Lady Tariel, Soul Assassin, Mr. Buttcrack Media. That name is pretty good. Drewdat Games, Jack of All Casuals. Who else? Keely Chow, Phil, Epi. Who else? Stunning and Brave. And that is all that shows that has shown up. Thank you all. Or also lovely Sherry. I did also see her name in here. And yes, thank you to everybody who came in, dropped by, said hi. And thank you, Agan Mara, for dropping in on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this movie, I did enjoy it. It was a slow burn, but I ended up enjoying it a lot. Thank you so much for actually recommending it and dropping into guest reviews. Folks, if you want to be a part of the guest review, you just contact me either on Facebook or on Twitter. You can find me either, or I might be getting another Instagram going up because my other one got hacked. So I might be going up again. I don't know if I will, but it's up in the air. Also, remember, get me to 1,000 subs before June 1st, and I'll have a ridicule stream for celebration where I dye my hair and beard all orange, so y'all can take clips and turn me into a meme and absolutely ridicule me. I don't allow that sort of stuff often, but I have no problem doing it this once. But it's got to be before June 1st. So if you guys can get me to 1,000 before June 1st, awesome. Also, stay tuned for Friday night at 8 p.m. where CG Snowballer will be joining me on here to talk Phantasm from 1979 for the next guest choice review. I am reaching out to a couple other channels who might be interested. Ambassador Oriole Wing will be joining. I'll be putting out my first YouTube video in this weekend or next. Nice, Jacob. We'll keep a lookout for it. And yeah, everybody have a wonderful night. Thank you all so much again. And always remember, stay humble.